back to my channel. I'm happy to see you here, and I hope that you will stick around till the end to kind of hear me talk about this topic, which I feel is quite important for people out there, because I feel that we do not really talk about this that often, and sometimes it can go unnoticed, but it is an important part of our lives, so we should definitely take some stock of it. Yeah, so the first point I want to say is if you've ever been told that you think too much, or you feel too much, or you care too much, then I'm guessing that this video is for you, because being sensitive can be a blessing and a curse. A blessing because a sensitive person can provide a certain level of comfort to somebody who really needs it in that situation. You know, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, or your partner, or even a colleague, or even a stranger sometimes. But being a sensitive person is also a curse, because it sometimes feels like a burden, like something you can't really get rid of, and it can be very exhausting at times. It's because it is part of your personality trait. It's not something that you learned at some point in life and that you can just unlearn someday. You know, it's just part of who you are as a person. So there is no real way of getting out of it, but you definitely can manage it in a certain way where you feel more in control of your emotions, and you learn how to keep yourself afloat in the moments when you're feeling a bit too much, so to say. But being sensitive is not a bad thing, honestly. It just makes you different. It's a very unique characteristic to have. You are one of those people who realizes that someone's tone shifted, or the vibes of a room just were maybe good, bad, weird, whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. Or you can sometimes make out the lie behind someone's words, whether they are hurting or not. Or you can make out from a person's expression sometimes whether they are happy or not happy, are they stressed, are they having some sort of emotional issues. And you also find yourself feeling happy for others when they are happy, or feeling sad for others when they are sad. Take me, for example. I am also a very sensitive person. Um, I sometimes cry even when I'm happy. Like, it would take a very tiny something to happen, and I would just maybe start having tears in my eyes and cry, even if it's something nice and I'm happy. So my emotional reaction is probably just crying for everything, whether I'm sad or happy or stressed or whatever be the case, I will always end up crying. Sometimes it can get annoying for me because I'm like, I don't like this thing. I don't want to keep crying all the time. But I also learned over the years that it's just part of me. There is nothing I can do to change it. It cannot go away because this is just how I am. But there are definitely ways to deal with this, and to learn to control your emotions, so you're not always functioning or responding to people or situations from your emotional perspective, because sometimes in some situations you definitely need to be more objective and practical rather than emotional, you know. So then the question comes, how do we do that? Like, what are our ways of dealing with our sensitive part, and how can we keep ourselves um, safe? You know, safe, because it is very important as a sensitive person to think about your own safety, your physical, mental, emotional safety. Um, because as a sensitive person, your tendency is to always help someone or comfort people, or if somebody reaches out to you for help or advice or suggestions, you always want to be there for them. Not because it's something that you need to do to satisfy your ego, no, it's just something that's there in you. Like, for example, if I have to do something for somebody, even if in that moment, let's say I'm tired or I don't really want to do it, I will still do it, because I would always make myself think in this direction that, oh, what if I don't do it? Then that person's gonna be sad, or will feel bad, or might get mad at me, you know? Or what if they really need help? And what if I'm a bad friend or a bad person for not willing to help that person? You know, those kind of thoughts. They can be very exhausting. And slowly I learned how to kind of keep them in control, because if you let these thoughts and emotions out of your hands, to put it in a certain way, they will just start navigating life for you on your behalf, and you will feel very lost and overwhelmed, and you will not really know how to take back the reins of your life into your control. That's why it is very important to follow some guidelines and try to keep yourself as sane as possible through this whole sensitivity journey. The first thing which I feel really helped me was having a grounding ritual. By that I mean that you need to have some time for yourself in the day where you are kind of disconnected from everyone around you, and that includes your phone, like no texting, no checking social media or stuff like that. You're just maybe in your room or wherever it is that you feel the most comfortable and relaxed at. You take that time for yourself to do some reflection or listen to some music which you want to listen to, or do some journaling or do some meditation or painting or coloring or anything that brings you some calmness. Because during the day we are very hyper, so to say. Our mind is working at a very high speed in the whole moment, to get things done, to listen to people, to have conversations, to carry ourselves, to get home, to go out, and stuff like that. So you need to have some part of your day, maybe 5-10 minutes to begin with, where you disconnect from the whole world, and that 5-10 minutes is sacred, and it is important just for you to calm down your emotions and your senses and enter a bit of a relaxed mode. Now, for me personally, I enjoy it because I use the time to do some guided meditation, which I always watch from YouTube. By the way, I'm going to link it below, the channel that I am subscribed to, and that really helps me. Or sometimes, if I feel like I would just journal a little bit. And I also discovered that coloring, like, I feel a lot of people are like, coloring is just for kids or something, but that's not true. Coloring Coloring is also something very nice for adults as well. And I tried it, and sometimes it's so satisfying to feel like, yeah, I can choose what color I want to fill into my drawing. The other day I was coloring a rabbit, and I actually colored it blue, because for me, I'm just obsessed with the idea of having a blue colored rabbit. So yeah, it's just what you feel like. It's your creative expression, so you should do it however you feel like, and nobody should be able to tell you whether this is childish or not. You should do what makes you feel good. So that's my first point, like a daily grounding ritual. Now you have to think what works best for you. I named some things that could work, but it's about you, and you need to know what are your likes and dislikes and hobbies, and yeah, what possibilities do you have to kind of wind down after a hard day outside in the outside world. The second point, which is also very important, is energetic healing. Now, energy healing doesn't mean you need to go to a Reiki healer or to a shaman or get crystals or stuff. Although, if you want to get those stuff done, that's also nice. But yeah, whatever feels good for your soul is something you should try to indulge in. But energetic healing mostly means, to me, from what I understand and what I feel would really help, is going out somewhere in nature, because nature is very healing. The sounds of birds, the sounds of the trees moving, or trees don't move, sorry, the leaves moving, um, or the sound of water flowing near you, or waves crashing on the shore. It's very healing. It gives you time to notice other aspects of life around you. You might also notice other people walking or doing stuff, or kids playing around, or just observing how the flowers or grass or leaves move in a certain motion. Or you could just use that time to listen to some music, or sit down and reflect, or write down stuff in your journal. But that's up to you. My main point here is, like, energetic healing is important for you to be able to give your emotions a little bit of care, which otherwise they don't really get in the hustle of daily life. So Yeah, that's important. And by that, personally, what I mean is moving out of your home or office area, for me, it really helps. So when I'm out of this situation and I'm going out on a walk or I'm going into nature or I go on the beach, it's really, really refreshing. So yeah, you should totally give that a try. The third point, which is also important, is that you understand the difference between dissolving from the world and discerning the world. You need to be able to filter out the world without fully isolating yourself, because sensitive people often try to just stay home and not to go out, not do stuff, because they're intimidated by the noise of the world, of how loud it is, of how people are, of how they need to be available emotionally, psychologically for other people around them. And to avoid that situation, a lot of us would just probably stay home and do nothing and rather be curled up in our own little corner, which is also nice. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, you need to balance it. You need to be able to go out and have fun, or go out to a cafe, or go out to do your grocery without becoming overwhelmed and exhausted by the end of it. So, for that, you need to be able to understand like, not everything needs your energy and reaction. Some things you just have to filter out, listen or see, and just let it be and be like, yeah, okay, it's not important. Um, and this is very important for you to be able to keep your sanity, to be able to differentiate between what are the things that need your energy and attention and what are the things that don't. Then that includes people, by the way. Creative expression is the fourth point that could help you deal with your emotions. And by creative expression, like I mentioned already in the first point, I mean doing things which you find creative. That could be singing at the top of your voice. Nobody cares. You should do it if that makes you happy. Or painting, or writing, or coloring. Um, or yeah, I don't know what is it that people out there really enjoy doing, but it's about you. You need to figure out what is it that helps you creatively express yourself. For me personally, I love writing, I love reading, and I love talking, which is why I make videos. Except that when I talk to somebody in real life, I am just more smooth, and when I have to do it on video, sometimes I can get a bit nervous. But at the same time, I enjoy doing this. That's why I started my YouTube, because I thought that talking to people who will maybe listen to me, and something that I say might help them, just made me feel so comforted and happy that I could help someone out there. So that's my way of expressing myself. So you need to figure out what ways work for you. And once you discover, once you discover what is it that works really nicely for you, then you should try to do it little by little. You don't have to overdo it in the beginning. Like, you don't have to set a goal of having to write 10 pages or having to paint for 1 hour. No, you have to see what works best for you, because something that worked for me may not work for you. So you need to figure out what is it that you like and what are your interests. The last point which I wanted to talk about is something which is very important, probably maybe the second most important point out of all these points that I've already mentioned, and that is being in your own community. That does not mean your ethnic group, your cultural group, or your racial group, or whatever. But what I mean by this is finding people who are like minded. It is quite difficult to find people who are like minded, I know that, but it is not impossible. You do not need to have 10, 20 friends just to feel part of something. Even if you have one or two friends or two people in your life, whether it's your family, colleague, friend, partner, whoever, but two or one person who really cares about you, who really understands your depth, who understands that you're a sensitive soul, and who does not hasten you, is more important than being part of a big group. Because the worst thing you can do as a sensitive person is to be around insensitive people. That's just gonna mess you up a lot, because you will probably react or see a situation in a certain way, and people who do not understand you, or who are not as sensitive as you, or maybe who are just in general more, there are people who are not very sensitive, they're just very practical people, and that's okay. But that's a very bad combination for somebody who's deeply sensitive, because you might feel invalidated by them, and that in turn makes you feel small in that moment. You know, you just probably disregard your emotions, or you will start thinking that you're not thinking in the right direction or feeling something right, or you just feel bad about yourself, you know. So it's not nice to be in a situation like that. That's why it is important to be selective uh, as to with whom you are going to give your energy or spend time with, in a way where your sensitivity is not hurt, that your sensitivity is there and it's appreciated and it's accepted. So, that being said, we're now over with the video. I hope that I made some sense, or that you could understand what I'm trying to say, um, or you could relate to me, and something that I said maybe might have helped you. I would be very happy if you guys would leave a comment down below and tell me what part of this video you liked, or if you have any idea, or you want to share a suggestion or your personal experience or some personal lesson that you've learned. I would be so happy to read your comments. But yeah, I hope that this helps you if you want to embark on this journey of learning to find strength in your sensitivity, and understanding that it is not a flaw, it's just how you are as a person, and you need to be just proud of yourself, and you need to accept yourself, instead of being, yeah, put off by it or feeling that there's something wrong with you, because there's not. There's just ways to manage your emotions, and if you learn that, then yeah, then it's great. I just feel like it can be hard as a sensitive person, because sometimes we do not really know how to control our emotions, and we let our emotions take over. And that's how we start entering this cycle of not being happy with ourselves and our state of mind. But based on the points that I give today, if you are able to learn to master your emotions, trust me, it's going to be really, really good, and you will definitely feel the difference. So, yeah, I hope you liked the video, and I'm happy to see you in the next one. Bye!